Snapchat's darkest corners. Who here used Snapchat in the past? I did, unfortunately. I got scammed on it. Yeah, when I was in school, everybody used it. Yeah, I think it was during the COVID, everybody used it for a little bit, and then I was like, okay. And then it became really, really bad, so I was like, f that shit.
Snapchat's darkest corners. Now for today's video, we're going to be talking about the social media app known as Snapchat. Now, from Unk perspective, I don't use that app anymore. I haven't used it in like half a decade.
Yeah, I don't think it's popular, like even with like people that are like under 20. It's like really, really cringe.
But I'm aware that a lot of you youngins, for some reason, still use Snapchat. I mean, I don't know how you haven't moved on.
Who the fuck uses Snapchat? I'm not gonna lie. Who?
On Instagram, or just mainly using that's not the point. That's not the point. The point is, I've been wanting to cover Snapchat for a long time now. I mean, I'm on this journey of trying to cover every dark side of every social media, and there are some outliers like Twitter, for example. Twitter's just a cesspool. Like, I don't think I'm ever going to make a video on that one. But when it came to Snapchat, it's kind of niche. Like, it really is kind of niche to find dark stories that have happened on Snapchat. I mean, don't get me wrong. We were able to do it in this video, but there's a reason this one isn't named The Dangerous World of Snapchat Criminals, because not every story I'm going to tell you guys today is about a criminal. Some of these people were just victims. And don't even worry about subscribing. I will earn your subscription by the end of this video.
Okay.
So we're starting off with Corby Eisman, the man that used Snap Map to be a creep. Now,
Snap mapping to be a creep is so strong, dude. I'm gonna triangulate your position by where you're Snapchatting from.
I know what you guys are thinking. Well, half the people that are using Snap Map are probably creeps. And to that I say, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get that out of the way before I tell you the story. In late 2022, Corby Eisman, a 25-year-old man from Flagler County, Florida, contacted a 16-year-old girl through Snapchat.
Okay, pedophile.
At first, the messages seemed like typical online small talk, but what the girl didn't know was that behind the scenes, Eisman was doing much more than just having a casual conversation. He was actually tracking her every move. He had been doing so by combining Snapchat's Snap Map feature with metadata embedded in her stories. This allowed him to pinpoint her exact location. So the
You are so crazy for that. Like, legitimately, you need to be put in an asylum.
Map feature basically allows users to post photos publicly and share real-time location with their friends, or like in this case, someone random that they're chatting with. Like I was saying, on Snapchat, there are two ways to publicly put yourself out there. So you can post a story and toggle whether you want your location on for it, and then random people can like zoom in on the Snapchat map and just see what's going on, for example, at a college campus, and see people's stories that have publicly toggled that setting. And you can separately also have your location always on, and that allows your friends to see exactly where you're at. I always thought
some people also didn't know that that was a thing. Yeah, man.
That feature was insanely creepy. So if you haven't already, I strongly
used
suggest
it.
enabling ghost mode. So yeah, Eisman didn't need much else. And he didn't just know the location and stop there, no. He used it to physically locate the girl. He arranged to meet her, and then, in an even more disturbing twist, he essayed her. Oh, and it gets worse. He didn't essay her just once. He did so repeatedly in his home and vehicle over a 2-month period. Now the Flagler County Sheriff's Office
break his kneecaps. Shove the phone in his mouth.
Began investigating on August 31st, 2022 after receiving a report of a possible sexual offense involving a teenage girl and an older male. According to the victim, Eisman said he was 19. Yeah, the man was lying about his age, and he was fully aware that she was underage. Flagler County Sheriff Rick Staley stated, "This is exactly why we encourage everyone to be very cautious of what you post on social media and the platforms you use." He went on to caution that something as, quote, innocent as a picture, which gives out your location, can put you in front of people that would be eager to victimize you. He also encouraged parents to sort of pay more attention to social media and how their kids use it. You know, the usual but important stuff like talking to them about safety while being online.
Why would you even have it like as default toggled on? I'm pretty sure you have to like turn it off if I remember correctly. I don't know, it's been a while, but like, why?
Finding out what they're doing online and cautioning them on how quickly that seemingly innocent post can make them a victim. Yeah, anyway, Eisman was arrested on September 1st of 2022 and charged with felony sexual battery on a victim under 17 years of age. He was later released on a $40,000 bond from the Sheriff Perry Hall Inmate Detention Facility. Wow, that was a mouthful. As of the latest available information, on February 12th of 2024, Eisman pleaded guilty to one count of unlawful sexual activity with certain minors. He was sentenced to 2 years in a Department of Corrections facility, followed by 8 years of sex offender probation. Now the Flagler County Sheriff's Office, after urging parents to closely monitor their children's internet and social media activity and all that, commended the Major Case Unit for their work in building a solid case against Eisman.
Only 45, by the way.
Alejandro Marquez abused the quick ad feature. Next up is a rather unsettling story of how a 27-year-old man from
Dude, imagine you see Snapchat and then you see this guy's like as a warning, this guy's face pops up with like sentence, District Attorney, New Mexico. It's like oh my god, it's like this fucking warning for using Snapchat now.
Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yo, Hex, thanks for the 9 months.
On an 11-year-old girl. This happened in the summer of 2022 when the guy, Marquez, used the app's quick ad feature, a tool designed to help users find new friends to befriend the girl. Apparently, Marquez offered the girl money to meet up in person, which they unfortunately did. Sadly, that was just the beginning because over several meetings, he essayed her multiple times before the victim's family discovered what had been happening and intervened by contacting law enforcement. The case moved swiftly through the justice system, and in August of 2023, Marquez pled guilty to the serious charges including criminal essay of a child under 13, criminal sexual...
Under 13? Nah, chop his nuts off, throw him in the river.
Contact of a minor, solicitation,
let him figure it out, put him in a forest.
Of a minor. The judge sentenced him to 18 years in prison, followed by sex offender probation, parole, and lifetime registration of a sex offender. But this case is more than just this one man's crime. It's been said to be a highlight of a much bigger problem with Snapchat and social media platforms in general, a problem that needs stopping. And some have tried because New Mexico...
Did you not hear the person's victim age? Chat, I'm not gonna lie to you, my ADHD, it can get kind of bad towards the industry. I apologize. Sometimes I don't hear the critical information.
Mexico's Attorney General, Raul Torres, took stand in 2024 by filing a lawsuit against Snap Incorporated, the company behind Snapchat. The lawsuit alleged that Snapchat's features, especially Quick Ad, make it dangerously easy for predators to find and exploit children. It also argued that the app's design encourages quick, casual conversations without strong...
Yeah, didn't they have like, oh god, Snapchat before was called Cake or something, but with like a K-I-K. And I remember in the UK, it was an epidemic, and I remember one of my friends from the UK when I was in New Zealand was talking about how a bunch of little girls were like getting into trouble and like all sorts of bad things happening. Kick still exists. Yeah, back then it was even worse.
Verification or safety checks, allowing predators like Marquez to slip through the cracks. What's worse,
It was Kick before Snapchat? No, there was something before Snapchat was a thing, and Kick was that thing, is what I'm saying. No, Snapchat was not Kick, not that way, no.
By the same lawsuit, is that Snapchat promotes the idea that messages disappear forever, giving users a false sense of security. Actually, on that, investigators found that predators can save and share explicit images indefinitely, so not really gone forever. Also, nothing stopping the good old use another phone to take a picture of the screen.
Yeah.
That's actually something that came up after the New Mexico Department of Justice's undercover work uncovered a disturbing network of dark web sites trading stolen Snapchat images, many involving minors. They even created a fake Snapchat account pretending to be a 14-year-old girl named Heather, which quickly attracted messages from accounts like child.rword and PDF file lover. With a username like PDF file lover, doesn't that mean that you love PDF files? Isn't that, I don't know, I just thought that was interesting while reading this. Also, Marquez's exploitation of Snapchat's features and the resulting abuse of the child sparked wider scrutiny of social media platforms' responsibility to protect minors, not just on Snapchat. The New Mexico Department of Justice's lawsuit, for instance, followed a similar legal action against Meta platforms for enabling child exploitation. Also, law enforcement agencies in New Mexico
Why is Snapchat still allowed?
have increased efforts to combat online child exploitation through operations like Operation Overwatch, which led to arrests of suspected predators using social media tools to target minors. The Ahmed and Colin case. Their kidnap, torture, and murders made it onto Snapchat. This one happened a few years ago, also in Albuquerque, New Mexico, but it was just one of those cases that kept getting worse the deeper you looked into it. It involved two teenagers, 14-year-old Ahmed Latif and 15-year-old Colin Romero, and it starts the same way as the other stories we talked about, on Snapchat. So let's start in December of 2018. Colin's mother, Kimbrell, reported him missing right before Christmas after she had heard about a Snapchat video and picture showing her son and his friend Ahmed being beaten. A friend had also called her and expressed concern that Colin had gone to buy marijuana but never returned. The video showed the teens being pistol whipped, unconscious, and possibly suffering broken bones.
New Mexico at it again. Right, dude? Dude, I remember there would be like kids in my school talking about like saying fucked up shit on the internet. I guess the internet got filtered pretty badly. And now Snapchat and like other things are just, yeah, now they're taking over with this shit, man. That's so fucked up.
Time of his death, Ahmed also had a felony out for his arrest and was an alleged absconder of the law. Now, the story that unfolded after is even more disturbing. Ahmed Latif, according to investigators, had tried to buy a gun. He apparently reached out to someone through Snapchat and was allegedly looking to arm himself for some kind of retaliation on a
What the hell? You're 14!
Guy named Flex. That person that he contacted on Snapchat was Stephen Goldman Jr., 22 at the time. But then Godman wasn't a lone gun salesman, he was a part of a trio that would later accost him. From the reports, Goldman Jr., along with 19-year-old Jimmy Atkins, nicknamed Flex, and 18-year-old Julio Almentero, lured Ahmed and Colin out to the West Mesa area in an apartment drug deal. Once in the car, Ahmed and Colin were ambushed. They were beaten, tortured, and then executed.
Always know your dealer? No, bro, they're 14. You should be fucking smoking weed.
Ahmed was shot 19 times, Colin 9 times, and their bodies wouldn't be found until weeks later, when they were discovered buried in a shallow grave in Sandoval County. The investigation led to the arrest and conviction of 3 individuals, Stephen Goldman Jr., Jimmy Atkins, and Julio Almentero. All 3 were found guilty of first-degree murder, kidnapping, armed robbery, and tampering with evidence. In May of 2023, they were each sentenced to 2 consecutive life terms, plus additional years in prison. Additional individuals faced charges for their roles after the murders.
I don't know, man. I would have put them in the death sentence. I don't know.
Jr. helped conceal evidence by burning the car used to dispose of the bodies and accepted a plea deal resulting in a 4-year prison sentence. Julio Almentero's uncle, Anthony Aragon, assisted in dumping and burying of the bodies and was sentenced to 6 years in prison. The Liam Birchfield case. Buying
guns and drugs off of Snapchat, man, that's so sad.
Got addicted to Snapchat until he offed himself. This next story centers on 17-year-old Liam Birchfield from Tennessee, whose life was tragically cut short on July 6th.
Is this like the ChatGPT person or something? Do you remember that really sad story of the guy that offed himself? Because he was like, I'm convinced Daenerys Targaryen is in love with me. Or was it character AI? It was character AI, wasn't it? Yeah.
2021. But before we get to that day, let's rewind a little bit to where it all started. For context, Liam enjoyed playing his guitar and planned to join the United States Air Force after high school. Like many teens, he started using Snapchat and Instagram in middle school. At first, it was just for fun, sharing snaps with friends, chatting, and scrolling through stories. Nothing unusual there. But over time, this grew into something so much darker. According to the lawsuit filed by his family in 2022, Liam became addicted to Snapchat. He would spend late nights scrolling through feeds, messaging strangers, and chasing snap streaks. Those daily message chains that Snapchat rewards, which can feel like a game but also a pressure to keep going.
But why? There's some sicko fucks that have like Snapchat streaks for like 7 years. Like, what is wrong with you?
Family noticed he was pulling away, becoming anxious and depressed. They tried to help, but Liam was caught in a cycle he just couldn't break. What made things worse was the kind of content Liam was watching. The lawsuit revealed that he was exposed to firearm-related material on Snapchat, which he somehow found fascinating. Now, this toxic mix led Liam to start
that's just normal
and despite
for kids,
his family's efforts, his mental health...
Young boys and being interested in firearms is normal, but like, this is probably not in the most healthy fashion, bro.
Really spiraled. In the weeks before July 6th, Liam's family watched helplessly as his condition worsened. They sought counseling and tried to limit his phone use, but all that was futile. Then, on that tragic day...
How was it futile? Did you not take his phone fucking away or something?
Liam died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. His family's lawsuit argues that Snapchat failed to warn users about the risks of addiction.
No, I'm gonna say it's a skill issue on the parents' part. There's no shot. It would have been something else if it wasn't Snapchat.
And exposure to harmful content.
What do you mean you took him to therapy and then you tried to limit it? I'd be like, you're not getting shit. You're not getting a phone until you're like 21 or something.
Instead, the platform prioritized keeping users engaged, using features like disappearing messages and algorithm-driven content recommendations that trap teens like Liam in cycles of compulsive use. Now, Liam's story is one of many that are fueling lawsuits against social media giants like Snap Incorporated and Meta Platforms, just like we saw in the previous case. And these cases claim the companies designed their apps to be addictive and knowingly expose teens to damaging content, making it difficult for parents to protect them.
Yes, you are getting farmed. TikTok does the same thing. Absolutely, I agree. But at the same time, you fucking failed the kid by sending him to therapy and saying, I'm gonna limit your use of your addictive phone. And it's like, I actually didn't take it away from you. I'm just letting you have it whenever you want, but I'm gonna keep an eye on you. It would have probably been something else at that point.
Kids.
Anything!
The CJ Dawley case.
It's
Self-consciousness due to social media led to a devastating end. For the second time in this video, we're diving into a case where Snapchat led to depression, which led to a devastating end.
Aww.
In this case, 17-year-old CJ Dawley, a high school senior from the small town of Salem, Wisconsin, was the victim. On January 4th of 2015, CJ fatally shot himself, leaving behind a note written on the back of his college acceptance letter. His story is that back in December of 2014, CJ started having pain in his legs and became convinced something was seriously wrong with his body. Fast forward to that day in January, while his family took down Christmas decorations, he went to his room, texted his best friend Godspeed, posted "Who turned out the light" on Facebook, and wrote a goodbye note on the envelope of his college acceptance letter. He then picked up a .22 caliber rifle on one hand and held his phone in the other and himself. His family thought he was sleeping, and that meant no one close to him knew what happened until 5 hours later when his sister went to check.
That is so fucked up.
Check on him. Now CJ had been using Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat since 2012.
I hate this self-censorship, say the word. You fucking dum-dum, it's censored on YouTube. You can't use the word. Guys, stop being fucking cringe and being like, oh my god, I'm so confused, why don't you just use it? It's literally, again, you can't use the word. You can't.
From when he was just 14.
It's YouTube's fault.
And over time, according to his parents, Chris and Donna, they saw changes. His phone, for example, was always with him. He started staying up until 3 a.m. on school nights, became more withdrawn, and more anxious about his appearance. And what really alarmed them was when they discovered that he'd been exchanging explicit photos. But despite that, CJ never showed the typical warning signs. He worked as a busboy at Texas Roadhouse in Kenosha, Wisconsin, balancing his job with a deep love for golf and a passion for watching Doctor Who, a standout student. He also caught the attention of top-tier colleges across the country. His mother, Donna Dawley, said his counselors said he could get a free ride anywhere he wanted to go. Interestingly, after his death, his parents started piecing together what had really been going on behind the screen, and in April of 2022, they filed a lawsuit against Meta Platforms and Snap Inc., accusing both companies of knowingly designing their platforms to be addictive, especially to teens. According to them, CJ had been hooked by—
But you had no idea what your kid was doing. Again, my parents knew what I was doing when I was, like, on the internet. Yeah, I feel like it's again, a little bit of a parental issue. You should have kept an eye on him, or, like, kept track of stuff, or asked him how he's doing, and I know it's hard to detect that kind of, like, you know, thing happening in a kid's head, or anyone's head, but at the same time, it's like, you should have at least, like, known a little bit. My parents kind of knew it was wrong when I was feeling fucking bummed out and shit.
Features like infinite scroll, algorithmic content loops, and Snapchat's trophy system, and that was all tied in with growing pressure around body image and messaging. The lawsuit points to internal research, some of which came out after whistleblower Frances Haugen's testimony, showing that Meta knew how harmful Instagram was to teens but downplayed it. Snap, for its part, responded by saying Snapchat was built to connect real-life friends and offered—
This is like suing faster for being fat, suing alcohol companies for crime. Perfect sign of shit parents that can only blame other people and never their own failings. Well, there's a bit of a nuance to it because you can't purchase alcohol, or legally anyway, when you're a child, but you can have a phone, which is arguably as addictive as a drug in some regards and can amplify your mental illness and can lead you to spiral. So, like, I can get why it's not 100% the parents' fault, but you can't sue Snapchat in that regard. It's like it's a little bit of both, man. Like, you should have kept an eye on your kid. You should have been monitoring his phone to some extent. He's under 18, at least from what I understand. It's like, I don't know. It's a bit of both. I think it's a bit of both.
Health tools, but neither company has commented.
And it's also a little bit on the government too, because they're letting Snapchat do whatever the fuck they want. That kind of thing.
Directly on CJ's case, since the litigation is still ongoing. Now for CJ's story, apparently dozens of other families have joined the same lawsuit, all saying the same thing, that their kids were pulled into a digital world that was never built with their safety in mind. The group representing them is called the Social Media Victims Law Center.
And also at the same time, you can argue about that about World of Warcraft and, like, playing video games that are inherently addictive, because it's like the gameplay loop is addictive. Like, you can't sue Blizzard for someone basically like doing the same thing. Like, anything in that regard with that level of addiction is bad. Yeah, I feel like it again, it's nuanced in the same time. I feel like I wouldn't sue Snapchat if that happened to a child that I would have. Like, what?
The France case. Tracked and stabbed the guy he found with his girlfriend. Again, we're getting into the Snap Map feature, and the controversy that erupted shortly after it was launched on Wednesday, June 2017. To recap, this feature allows users to share their real-time location with friends on a map, showing exactly where they are at any given moment. Shortly after this launch, reports surfaced in Utah that SnapMap was breeding party crashers. Teens and young adults were looking through pictures or videos on SnapMap to find parties, then heading to the area and driving around until they found the house. Once there, some either stole or broke items. Parents and child safety advocates were quick to raise the alarm. Many pointed out that SnapMap's default settings made it easy for users, especially—
That's what I thought. I know for a fact that when you install Snapchat, it's on by default for some godforsaken reason.
Minors to share their locations with a broad circle of friends. The app's ghost mode, which disables location sharing, was off by default, meaning users were unknowingly exposing themselves. Experts warned that predators no longer needed to physically stalk children. They could simply open an app and see exactly where vulnerable users were in real time.
And see, this is where I would say the government or some authority has to step in and say, no, the default has to be off. You have to opt into it because of XYZ. This is where I take issue with. It's like, well, you can't have the government constantly fucking babysitting you, because that's when you get like a nanny state or whatever. You get China where it's like you have to overlook everything, but it's like, in this case, I feel like this is not even really an issue.
The months that followed were even crazier with stories, and it got really dark. One such case is a case from France where a guy stalked his girlfriend and went on to stab the guy that he found with his girl. So why am I just saying the guy and not saying any actual names? Well, my team and I found this article, and it's all French, so we used Google Translate, and even they didn't say their names for some reason, but all my sources will be linked down below.
I think
for
it's just France
SnapMap
or something,
had quickly found a very interesting use at the time: catching cheaters. This wasn't actually the first case where someone had been caught cheating using the tool. There was, for example, a story on Twitter from 2017 when a woman posted how she tracked her boyfriend driving to a different girl's house and spending time at the location. Anyway, back to the case in France. It said that the 25-year-old man had not been happy that his girl wasn't picking up on Halloween night when they were supposed to be together. She didn't know her location was on, and she wasn't answering her phone, so he resorted to SnapMap. Armed with a knife, he followed its lead and found her sitting in a car with another dude. He argued with the guy before stabbing him in the thigh. And, in a rather weird twist, when arrested and questioned about it, his response was that he was jealous and his violent tendencies, even towards his girl, were because she was the one that, quote, seeks it. Now, like
I mean, I don't think this would have happened without Snapchat, I'm gonna be real.
Already mentioned, Snapchat's response to such situations is pretty much the same. They argue that SnapMap was opt-in and that users could control who saw their location. They say the app only updates location when it's open and that users could enter ghost mode to hide their location entirely. The Lucas Sutton case. His murder was planned on Snapchat by his quote-unquote friends. Now imagine this: being lured out for drinks by people you once called friends, then they turn out to be the same people that make sure you never get back home. As scary as it sounds, that was the reality for Lucas Sutton, a 22-year-old father from Croydon, UK. He lost his life in a brutal, premeditated attack that was planned through Snapchat. Now, like I said, Lucas wasn't a stranger to the people who ended up taking his life. In fact, he used to be friends with one of them, but that friendship had turned fatal. According to police, Lucas had tried to get rid of a gun he was holding onto for the group, which they interpreted as him being a traitor. On the night of May 23rd, 2023, life. In fact, he used to be friends with one of them, but that friendship had turned fatal. According to police, Lucas had tried to get rid of a gun he was holding onto for the group, which—
So that— what kind of low IQ shit is that? You're a traitor for getting rid of a gun that you're holding?
They interpreted as him being a traitor. On the night of May 23rd, 2023, Lucas had met up with Keon Williams, age 21, and Kai Nelson Palmer, age 17, and they walked together to a local shop to buy drinks, seemingly casual, like nothing was wrong. But what Lucas didn't know was that his two so-called friends had been plotting to attack him for days, messaging back and forth on Snapchat. As they walked back, Williams pulled out a knife and stabbed Lucas. In reaction, Lucas dropped the drinks and ran, but both attackers chased after him. Williams, who was faster, caught up and stabbed him again. In a desperate attempt to survive, Lucas then ran into a local pub, begging for help, before collapsing on the floor. He He later died in the hospital. In April of 2024, both Williams and Nelson Palmer were convicted of murder. Williams received a life sentence with a minimum term of 23 years. Nelson Palmer, being younger, got a minimum of 16 years. A third man,
That's not
19 years
enough,
old,
man.
was acquitted. It was also clear that Lucas, who left behind a young son, feared for his life in the weeks before the attack. Friends and family had, for example, noticed he had grown distant and anxious. He had even confided that he had, quote, upset people and felt unsafe. The Kyle Walley case.
Man.
His killer posted his body on Snapchat like a trophy. On July 11th of 2021, 19-year-old Kyle Walley invited his friend over to watch the Euro 2020 final, and maybe as any typical friend would, he was expecting football, some drinks, and a chill evening. What he got instead was nothing close. He met violence and death, and his body posted on Snapchat like a trophy by the killer, 20-year-old Mark Jones. Now, like I said, Mark was his friend. The two had known each other for a considerable while.
I just can't imagine, like, how... I've had friends betray me before, but I've never thought of killing them. I feel like it's just kind of... I think your brain is fucked. I don't know.
So
what is
again,
wrong with you?
It was really disturbing that Mark even filmed
Couldn't
the
even
aftermath
imagine.
and posted it on Snapchat. So what really happened? Well, first, the location. The attack took place inside Kyle's kitchen.
Yeah, and they
in
posted it on
Rosminier, Wrexham.
Snapchat.
The two had been watching the England versus Italy match together, and Snapchat footage showing the court captured Jones drinking cider and bourbon, joking and making stabbing motions at Kyle's back. A strange thing to do, given that he had
Make what? And he was Snapchatting it too while they were drinking?
even sent messages a day before the murder with a picture of himself and a cartoon knife.
No, I'm not gonna kill you, haha. Stab, stab, stab in the back. Motive special. Yeah, and recording it too, like...
Caption, I'm going to
very
stab
smart
you tomorrow.
move, by the way.
This is actually part of the argument that was had in court regarding the premeditated nature of the act. Jurors were shown videos after the murder. One had Jones with blood on his hands, looking straight into the camera and saying he stabbed up Kyle and was, quote, going to do time. Another clip showed him stomping on Kyle's lifeless body.
Dude, that's asylum. Just asylum or death sentence.
Details were that apparently a friend who was on the phone with Kyle during the attack heard him yell, "Put the knife down," followed by screaming and then Jones shouting, "I'm sorry, it's my ADHD." Yup.
Yeah, that's just how it works. Yeah. ADHD that makes you premeditate and murk someone. Yeah.
He tried blaming it on ADHD. He also claimed that he acted in self-defense, claiming that Kyle came at him with the knife first. The jury didn't buy it though. On March 16th of 2023, Mark Jones was found guilty. A day later, he was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum term of 16 years and 126 days. And the judge let him have it, calling his actions despicable, and adding that Kyle was killed not out of fear or panic, but just because Jones wanted attention, sort of like notoriety, just to be seen.
No, I think he's just fucking mentally insane. Some people are just born like that, in my opinion.
Filmed and shared the incident for views and validation. His exact words: "You filmed and broadcasted
it's
images of Kyle clutching his chest and begging you to put the knife down." He then went on about how Kyle collapsed dead on the floor. Mark kicked and stomped on his body, shouting vile things at him. The judge concluded that he was satisfied that Mark did that deliberately because he wanted to be seen humiliating Kyle. The Selena Rodriguez case. Addicted and blackmailed to death. This one took place in Enfield, Connecticut. It involved an 11-year-old girl named Selena Rodriguez. And
why are you 11-year-old on Snapchat? Again, if I had an 11-year-old kid, I would check their fucking phone and check what apps they have. You know what I mean? Like, if I had Snapchat, I'd be like, nah, you ain't using that shit. Nah, go fuck yourself. That's what the cool kids do, Mom. Yeah, well, the cool kids are fucking retarded, so, you get nothing.
It started a way a lot of these cases do now through social media, direct messages from strangers, and no meaningful way for a child to navigate it safely. Now, all this began after Selena had just turned 9. This was when she—
9? What was I doing when I was fucking 9 years old? Reading Warrior Cats books and drawing. That's what I was doing.
Began using Instagram and Snapchat.
Instagram at 9. Yeah, that's parents' fault, bro.
First, it looked innocent. Filters, selfies, group chats with classmates, probably like what it is with most teens. But within months, things escalated. Her family noticed.
Very key word. He just said it. Normal for teens. She's 9!
She was spending hours a day on her phone, and her mother, Tammy Rodriguez, tried to intervene. She deleted the apps and took her phone away, but Selena would apparently always find a way back. Downloaded the apps again on borrowed phones, used friends' devices, or secretly reinstalled them. Around this time, then came the message. messages. Strange men were contacting her, and even more disgustingly, some were pressuring her for explicit photos. According to a lawsuit later filed by her mother, Selena unfortunately gave in to the pressure. The images were shared, then circulated. Word got out at school, and then the bullying started. She began being mocked by students, with some calling her names, and the psychological effect was immediate and devastating, and she changed. She began isolating herself, skipping meals, staying up late at night with her phone under the covers. She started showing signs of depression and
Skipping meals. Yeah, that's a big indicator.
Her mother, who couldn't just stand by and watch, tried to intervene by taking her to therapy, where she got diagnosed with severe
Alana just letting you know that you are saying a slur, the R slur. Shut up, retard.
Social media addiction. However, even with treatment, the pull was just too powerful. Her family described it as a battle they couldn't win. On July 21st, 2021, Selena Rodriguez died by... She was just 11 years old.
That is so fucking sad, man. Mother sues Meta and Snap over daughter. Again, this is what I'm saying. It's like, I tried so hard to get my little daughter to stop using her phone, but she kept reinstalling it. I would legitimately go cold turkey. I would change my phone, chat. I would change my phone to be a brick phone as a mother so that she can't have access to an actual phone. That's what I would do personally.
Now, like we've seen in some other cases,
you're a bad parent. Sorry.
To a wrongful death lawsuit, which was filed in January of 2022 by the Social Media Victims Law Center on behalf of her mother. The suit named both Meta Platforms and Snap Inc. as defendants, accusing them of creating addictive and dangerous platforms that failed to protect minors. It also
I'm pretty sure there's a way for a phone to have parental lock where you can't install what is it called? You can't install certain apps or something. Yeah, you like literally can't unless you know the password or, stuff like that. There's preventative measures. Like, it's not perfect. Did she say she did and she just used her friend's phone? She can't take her friend's phone home and stuff. At least it's a preventative measure. You can bypass it though. Oh, here we go. The geniuses. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna hackeroni the potato, potato Mr. Asian is gonna be hackeroni into the system and I'm gonna bypass it. Yes, you can bypass anything, but it's not easy.
Alleged everything we just saw in the other cases, but also uniquely pointed out that neither platform had effective parental controls or reliable age verification, allowing Selena to open and use accounts without her mother's consent. The lawsuit also cited internal research and whistleblower testimony showing that both Meta and Snap had been warned about the mental health risks associated with their platforms, particularly for young users, but continued to prioritize gross and engagement metrics. Snap Inc. issued a statement expressing condolences and reiterated their investment in safety tools. Meta did not comment publicly on the case. The overdosing teens. Laced pills allegedly from Snapchat dealers.
What happened, man? When I was a kid, I didn't even know what drugs were, man. No, stop, man. Stop. What do you mean? Did you guys get into drugs? Maybe my drug was just MMOs and playing WoW and playing League.
For the most part, you and your parents or teachers, or whoever probably did this too, you all get these warnings about social media and bullies and creeps that are on there, and maybe some dark content. But then, this next case shows the dark side where teens basically have drugs in their face, in an actually insane way. First case is that of Sammy Berman, a 16-year-old described by those around him as smart, sweet, and just a regular teen that loved playing video games upstairs in his room. He also was excited about life, and even had an internship lined up and everything. On the particular day he died, his mom, Dr. Laura Berman, a well-known relationship and sex expert that has even been on programs like Oprah Winfrey and Dr. Oz, said he had been upstairs playing his usual games with friends. Then when she went upstairs to talk with him about his internship, she found him lying on the floor, unconscious and not breathing. It later became apparent that he had taken a pill, what he thought was Xanax, but it wasn't. It was laced with fentanyl, and
oh, that is just fucking sad, man.
It unfortunately killed him. And where did he get it?
That's
well, from someone on Snapchat. And that's the part his mom said she couldn't stop thinking about. According to her, she knew Sammy used social media, and she even thought it was helping him stay connected during the pandemic. But she didn't know that drug dealers...
Yeah, and again, it's under the guise of like, oh, well, it helps my kid because of the pandemic, which is understandable. But at the same time, fuck, man, how is she supposed to know? Ignorant parents? Yeah, it is ignorance. She should have known better, researched or something. Yeah.
Allegedly were also right there on the same platform. Now the thing is, Sammy wasn't the only one. In fact, it turned out there were about 60 kids that died from fentanyl overdose that they allegedly bought via Snapchat. It became a whole lawsuit that Snapchat had to respond to, and the cases were all grim to some level. For example, around the same time, there's a case of Amy Neville, who on one evening said goodnight to her son Alexander, only 14 at the time, only for it to be the last time he was seen alive. Apparently, the same day, he had opened up to his parents and admitted that he had gotten addicted to oxys, and just like Sammy, he allegedly used to get it through Snapchat. To help, Amy and her husband had immediately planned to send him to treatment, and before that, they said they thought they were doing everything right. I mean, they talked to him, checked his phone, and even turned off the internet at night. So it was a shock that...
See, that's a good parent. Turning off the internet at night, at least you're doing something to prevent it. Like taking away their phone and shit and stuff. Yeah, fucking Fent, dude. That's so sad.
By the next morning,
they
Alexander
tried.
Was gone. He apparently took one pill that night, which was supposed to be oxy, but it was fentanyl, a laced pill. Now, it would also become clear that Snapchat's disappearing messages made it almost impossible to trace conversations between these kids and alleged dealers, and that the dealers know it. They would, for instance, use emojis and code words to sell pills and sell laced pills while at it.
Oh
Alright
my
guys,
God.
that's gonna be
There's a code that you have to learn as a child to buy drugs? Oh my God. Oh.
For this video. If you think I earned your subscription, make sure to subscribe. If you like the way I presented these stories, make sure to leave a like. Also, I wasn't going to say this at the beginning of the video because I just found it disrespectful, but I am live streaming on Twitch now, so I don't know when this video is going to go up, but I'm doing a 7-day Roblox marathon. I just checked my calendar, and yes, when this video comes out, I should be live. So I hope it's fun. Again, I'm in the past. You're watching past Tub right now. I had to stock up on videos so I could have a lot of fun and just focus on streaming. But twitch.tv/Tuvington_, link in the description if you want to check it out. And with that being said, I will see you guys next time I upload.
I'll be honest. Yeah, that's crazy, dude. Well, that was a depressing video, but educational. 2 winks and 1 dino dance, please. I got 30 Skittles. Wait, that's how they talk? Strong. There's some bad stuff on Roblox too. Yeah, Roblox is weird too, man. God, having a kid must be kind of tough, huh? Fuck them rotten bastards who lace their drugs with Fen to make it more addictive. Yeah, those fucking scumbags, man. Disgusting. Oh, yeah.